Bring it all to life a bit, find out a bit more about what the story is beyond the bricks and mortar. Over to you.
Okay. Good evening to you all. My name's David Headley, and I've worked at the Belfry for just over 20 years this time. I first worked here in 1970 when I was at college, and the hotel was already 10 years old by that time. So it fits in very well with your 50th anniversary, because we're just over 50 years old as well. There has been a property on this site for over 1,000 years, but I won't spend all night talking about that, so we'll pick it up in the sort of early 60s when it becomes a hotel. It was an old stables which had been converted into a house and become a chicken farm. And it went for auction at the Grand Hotel in 1959 and was bought by a gentleman called Jimmy Burns for the princely sum of £17,500. It had about 50 acres of land and about 9 bedrooms, and was in the brochure as a gentleman's residence. But our friend Jimmy Burns wanted to turn it into a hotel restaurant, so with his wife over the next sort of 18 months, 2 years, that's what they did, and it opened in 1961 as a hotel. One of the things that was asked a lot of times was, why the Belfry? Why was it called the Belfry? And there was nothing in the records to say why it had been called the Belfry. There was nothing that was synonymous with the area or what the building had been in the past. So, never been short of making up a story when we haven't got the truth. We thought we'd go out and find out why we could call it the Belfry. We found a picture from the early 1920s when it was a better house than it had been a chicken farm, and there was a structure on the roof which could be perceived as a belfry. So we thought that's a good story, so that's why it was called the Belfry. I had the pleasure of meeting Jimmy Burns' wife, who was well into her 90s 2 years ago, and I asked the story, why was it called the Belfry? And she said, well, why do you think? And I told her the story that I'd made up. She says, that's far better than the truth. She said, we sat with the solicitors after we come out of the auction house, and we had to put something on the deeds, and we came up with the name of the restaurant we were sitting in, which was called the Belfry. So it becomes a Belfry because that's where they were. Now, for those of you, which is very few looking around, that were around in the 60s, 60s was a very popular time for music, as you know, and Jimmy Burns soon saw an opportunity for the hotel to make money out of pop music, if you like. So the room across the way there, which is now called the Warwick, was called the Mayfair Suite. They stuck a mirror ball in the middle of the room, and they charged £1 in, and they had the likes of Led Zeppelin, Slade, The Who, The Move, Moody Blues, and the list goes on. Right the way up into the 70s, became a very popular music venue. It was then bought by a brewery called Greenall Whitley from Warrington, who also owned Davenport's in Birmingham at the same time. They bought it, looked at the property, looked at the farm down the way there called Lee Farm, purchased that with 250 acres, and were approached by the PGA, the Professional Golfers Association, looking at it about putting golf courses on. And this happened in the 70s, and in 1976 they opened the Brabazon and the Derby golf courses. And again, for those of you who can remember, 1976 was the hottest summer we ever had. So by the end of 1976 we had 2 brown things that looked like golf courses, sort of, that had to be rebuilt, and we eventually opened in 1977. A number of years later, in 1985, we had the Ryder Cup. Now, the Ryder Cup, and this room that you're in now, the Worcester room, was the European team room for the Ryder Cup in 1985, in 1989 and in 1993. So all the great Europeans, Seve Ballesteros and Colin Montgomery and Sam Torrance all had their meals in here during the Ryder Cup. So you're in a very famous room. In 1985, they won the Ryder Cup for the first time for 28 years. They'd only ever won it 4 times before, and they won it for the 5th time after 28 years at the Belfry in 1985. They then went on to draw it in 89, lost it in 93, but came back spectacular in 2002 and won the Ryder Cup again. Now, it was 2002 because of the 9/11, it had to be cancelled for a year. So we came into this property for the Ryder Cup for the 4th time, never held anywhere else. Amazing security, never seen security like it. They had armed police on the roads with roadblocks. We were coming into work at 5 o'clock in the morning. You came off the motorway island, you were stopped. They got you out of the car, they went in the boot of the car, they got mirrors under the car, they were all there in body armour and machine guns. This is for a golf tournament. So day 2, I'm thinking, I'm not going to go to the main road, I'll go down the back lane. So I came down the back lane from Warmley, down the bottom Grove Lane, And there is a wooden shed with an old Bobby sitting there who stands up and goes, "Working?" I said, "Yeah." He went, "Okay." So there you go, all the security in the world. At that point, Ryder Cups, 4 Ryder Cups, 25 other tournaments. We're now into the year 2000, 2005 in fact, and a rumour goes round that Belfry's up for sale. And in fact it was, and it was sold to an Irish industrialist called Sean Quinn. Bearing in mind that Jimmy Burns and his wife bought it in 1959 for £17,500, Sean Quinn paid £186 million for this property. Not a bad bit of profit, was it really? I'm not going to bore you forever because you've got your meal and your entertainment to get on with and enjoy yourselves. We're now sort of, I don't know, 50 years on from the Belfry. We've now got 3 golf courses, not 2. We've got everything that goes round. There's rumours in the press we're up for sale. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. But we're still here, still a famous property. Hope you enjoy your evening. Just a couple of little stories there for you. And hope you enjoy it. Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well hopefully that's given you a little bit of a taster. Just to give you the rest of the taster with the sumptuous feast that's about to get underway. For the carnivores amongst you, I think we've got a rack of lamb as the highlight. For the vegetarians, it's going to be a souffle. Then later on, not in any of my kind of 30 announcements that I've previously made, but we do have a special cake which is going to be served, which you may have caught a glimmer of as you came in. And the final thing is I'm hoping that nobody is going to be kind of leaving early. We've actually got this room until midnight, and you might have worked out from some of the equipment that's been set up there that it doesn't all finish once the meal is concluded. So we're going to be having something else. So look forward to that. That's all we've got to say for now. We're going to say a few words of thanks a little bit later, but for the next couple of hours, please enjoy. Thank you.